Hello, this is vlog number 27. I believe that this is a biological warfare unit. That's what I believe. I believe that this virus came from a lab in Wuhan. When mankind tampers with nature, what we get is a monster. We get a monster that we don't understand and that we cannot control. We don't even understand Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a monster. The dog man, all kinds of cryptids that roam the earth. We don't understand them because we created these monsters, man crossing with beasts and so on and so forth. We creating monsters that we don't even understand. Now, this virus seems to have a mind of its own. Evidently, it just does. When we create when we tamper with nature, we create monsters that have a mind of their own. You can only stop them, if the Lord intervenes. Now, let's look at the bat theory. Now, animals have a lot of bats, animals, cats, dogs, pigs, horses. They have a lot of bacteria and viruses. Okay, now China has been eating dogs for thousands of years. They would tell you that. And for the last 30 or 40 years, China has said we eat anything that creepeth and crawleth the earth. They eat donkeys too. FYI. They eat anything that creepeth and crawleth the earth. They said that 40 years ago. So they didn't start eating bats in November of 2019. They've been eating bats for probably 500 years. Okay, they never got a COVID virus. It never got wiped out. Okay, so I don't believe it came from, them eating bats. Because they've been eating for 500 years. They should have gotten it then. They didn't get it then. And they just didn't start, starting bats in November. Okay. So I believe this is a biological warfare unit. And if it is a biological warfare unit, then there has to be a target. Who is the target? Africa. Because China wants Africa's land. They want all the minerals underneath there. So what do? You kill all the Africans with this biological unit. If there are any left, then you make them slaves. Then China can overtake Africa. You kill all the blacks in the Caribbean. China can overtake the Caribbean. You kill all the blacks and the indigenous people in Central America. China can overtake Central America. You kill 50% of the blacks in America, make the rest slaves. Kill everybody in Central America. Then China can overtake Central America and most of America. This virus was not meant for white people. I think what China envisions is just a world controlled by China and white people. Because China thinks that the white people like them too. But I think that's what China wants. And look, why not kill the Africans without firing a shot? No bloodshed. Just use a biological weapon. This weapon was intended for the Africans. And like I said, I think kill 50% of the blacks in America. And, the rest of them, make them slaves. It was not meant for white people in Europe, Russia, and America. But it got to them anyway. Now, look, overtake the blacks. If you kill all the blacks in the Caribbean Islands, you overtake the Caribbean Islands. Okay? Like I said, it was not meant for whites and Europeans and not even Chinese. It was not meant for the Chinese. Okay? But look. This biological unit seemed to have adapted to a 98-degree human temperature. It gravitates to anything with a 98-degree human temperature and then wreaks havoc on the human body. Now see, God intervened in China's death wish to kill all the Africans and most of the blacks everywhere in the world and turned it on them. And so now the virus killed the Chinese and it killed the whites. It killed the rich whites, the poor whites, the middle-class whites. And it's killing black people too. It's killing everybody around the world. But God turned that virus that China meant for blacks, it turned it on them. Now, the 1918 pandemic, I think that was a biological warfare unit also. Because I think the original intent was to kill the blacks in America and the American Indian. That way, the white man can rid America of its black problem. And then rid America of its white problem. The American Indian problem. Okay, and then the whites will have America for themselves. And so what happened? God intervened and turned the 1918 pandemic on white people. It killed 50 million white people. It almost wiped white people off the face of the earth. And I guess the elite were begging God, you know, the atheists otherwise, but these elites who move and shake the world probably pleaded with God, look, okay, God, we won't kill the blacks, we won't kill the American Indian, but please stop this plague, because it almost wiped white people off the face of the earth. See, God turned that 1918 pandemic, which was really meant for blacks and American Indians, and turned it on whites, and almost made them extinct. And so that I can imagine that scene, you know, they're in some kind of, you know, conference room, and these elite who are devil worshippers normally are begging God in that room to stay the plague, because it almost wiped out white people. They almost became extinct. And God stayed the plague in 1918. He stayed the plague. So the question is, so just like I said, see, before anything happens in the natural, it's going to happen in the, it's discussed in the supernatural first, okay? All these things that happen in the natural, it's going on in this, there's discussions about it in the supernatural. So yes, my conclusion is that this was a biological warfare unit created in the lab. And like I said, I've seen a few science fiction. The virus got out, or God commanded it to get out and wreak havoc on the world, because he's using that virus to judge the world. Have a nice day.